Hello, Engine Doc back with you. This is part 2 of a series I'm doing on the Style C Fairbanks Morse. And in part 1, if you haven't watched that, check out the overview of the engine before I took it apart. Now I have completely cleaned out the crankcase area, and it's clean now, pretty much. Haven't found any problems yet other than the missing rods that we looked at in the first video. But what I'm going to attempt to do now is try to get the engine running on electronic ignition. And let me put the cover on, I'll be right back. Alright, I set the cover back on. It's just sitting there, it's not bolted down. I mentioned earlier in the other video that I was going to put an accessory drive here. As you can see, I made a block off plate for it, and I got the price and the gears, and the gear that I need is going to be, more than I want to put in this engine right now until I evaluate the engine completely. I may do that at a later point, and I was going to put the electronic ignition pickup in here on the cam and pick up off the cam gear, but I've changed my mind on that too. I'm going to put it down here on the crankshaft for now. Not sure what side I'm going to put it on. I'm going to put pulleys over here, and I have a little more room in this area for pulleys to drive things with, and so for right now I think I'm going to put it on the left side of the engine. And I'm in the process now of pulling the flywheel, and this one doesn't have gib keys. It's got a pinch bolt. I've taken the pinch bolt out and lightly driven in a chisel to kind of separate it a little bit, and I've got it soaking with some penetrating oil, and I'm getting ready to rig up a puller on it now and yank this flywheel off so I can put the pickup on there. I'm going to machine a pickup to put the magnet in, and it'll go on this shaft in between the case of the engine and the flywheel, and I'll make a bracket for the actual hall sensor to go on the side of the engine here too. So that's kind of where I'm at here. I'm going to put you on a tripod, and we'll see if we can get this wheel pulled off. I'm going to attempt to use a harmonic balancer puller to pull the flywheel with. There's 3 holes here where the pulley goes on, and I'm going to use those for the bolts, and we'll get rigged up here, see if we can get her off of there. Set my bolts to equal distance. And I think the short one will work better for that. Here it comes. short bolt to the longer bolt here. I should have used it to start with. Okay, I got the longer bolt moved in there, screwed in there. I'll let you watch me drop this on my foot. Should be just about off here. Here we are. Feel it's right at the end. There it is. Yeah, we'll get the shaft cleaned up a little bit here. There's the key. I'm gonna pop that key out of there, and while I'm at it, I think I'm gonna make another key for it too. So the flywheel will need one, also my accessory drive pulley will need one of these keys. So I just will do that while I've got this wheel off. I've made several attempts to get this key out with no success. It's really stuck in there real good. I usually can take a little chisel and get underneath the bottom edge of it here and push it right out of there with a hammer. But this engine's built a little differently than others. The bearings are pot metal or cast aluminum, so I want to be careful and not hammer on them too much. So there's a little end play in the engine here. I don't know if you can see that or not, but a little bit there. So to minimize the force on the crankshaft, I'm going to use an air hammer, and I'll be able to hold over on this wheel and bump this out. So we'll try that. I've got just a hammer head in the air hammer here. I'm going to lay it right there. I'm going to pull over on the wheels. There it comes. Now I'm going to want to dress up the edges of that. Maybe put a little taper out here on the ends with the grinder, and that'll allow me to get a chisel under it the next time. There's always a few burrs on the crankshaft. Take care of them now. We've scarred up the keyway a little bit. Dress it down a little bit here. An old colleague of mine used to say, you got that shining like new money. Okay, we stepped over into the machining area here. I'll show you what I've got here for an ignition system I'm going to attempt to use. This is the ignition box. And this is off of a model airplane. And as you can see, that's another hobby that I've got, is I'm into RC airplanes. Used to make my own ignition systems and convert weed eater engines over to fly as well. But anyway, back to the subject at hand here. This is a ignition module off of an engine that met its demise, collision with terrain, as they say. But the ignition module is good. This was the pickup on the front of the engine, and this is the Hall effect sensor that I'm going to attempt to use. I'm going to have to make a different bracket for it. This is the ignition control box. This plugs onto the spark plug. And this is the pickup. Let's see, now the pickup's already plugged on here. This is power. This is the power to it. That's a Futaba connector. So I'm going to use a small battery pack on it. And this is the crankshaft out of the defunct engine. This is the prop driver. And here is the little magnet. We're going to use part of this or the magnet, I'm not sure yet. But the magnet rotates past the Hall effect sensor, and that's what triggers a spark. So I'm going to definitely use the magnet out of here. I may have to make a new hub to go on behind the flywheel we just pulled to glue this magnet into, and that's kind of the parts I'm going to begin to try to use here. Okay, I've been working a little bit here. Got a collar turned, and the magnet's going to mount in this little grid right here. Just finished boring the ID here to 1 3/8. Check that now. Got a set of calipers, inside calipers set close here, but I want to sneak up on it and not get it too big, so better do some precision measuring here. Taking the finished cut here. Take it over there and see how it looks here in a second. I'll do a final measurement here. I'm at 1.375, which is the same as the shaft. So I just need to go about 5 thousandths over to give me clearance to slip it on. Okay, this isn't rocket science, but you know, I said 5 thousandths clearance, and I got to doubting myself. It's not rocket science, but I do need to practice. So I got my Machinery's Handbook Pocket Companion out, and I looked it up here, and what I'm looking for is a locational clearance. That means that this can be loosened and moved around easily. I want to be able to loosen the set screw and move it a little bit and change the timing. So I'm going for an LC locational clearance, so I look on my chart over here, and I'm looking for an LC7, and I'm looking at a size range from the diameter from 1.19 to 1.97, which is in our range. We're 1.3. And so it says for an LC7, the hole can be 4 thousandths over. This can be 4 thousandths over the shaft size, measured shaft size, or the shaft can be 2 thousandths under. So I'm going to go another 4 thousandths. I am matching right now the diameter of the shaft over there on the engine. So I'm going to bring it out, open it up, bore it out another 4 thousandths of an inch. So to bore that out another 4 thousandths, I want to move my cutter back 2 thousandths. Right there. And I'll probably take a spring pad on top of that just for good measure. I just broke through, and we'll back out slowly. Not change any settings. And now just go through again, take what we call a spring cut. It's taking off some material. My chips are smaller than a human hair at this point. See where we're at. .379. We're 4 thousandths over. Should fit. So what I'm going to do here now, where I take it out of the chuck, take the boring bar out. It's so boring. And chamfer it. We'll see if it fits. Yeah, it goes on, but it's a little tight right there. Let me see if I can. This keyway is just a little sharp. I could tell on the idea of the part here that it was cutting it a little bit. There it goes. Alright. That'll work. Probably turn it around that way. It'll probably ride right in that area. I've got a set screw hole already in here. Now I got to drill and put the magnet in it. And figure out exactly where on the perimeter of this I want the magnet, because I want the set screw to sit down here opposite the keyway, which is right here. So I may want the magnet. I'll have to see where it comes into time at and see where my keyway is and make adjustments accordingly, but looks like the magnet hub is getting close to being done. So let's determine where we want to run it at here. Bring it up on compression. There we come, up on compression. Take it up, and I want to set the timing at about 10 degrees before top dead center, which is about right there. So let me step in front of you here and get around the other side. So my keyway is directly opposite from the camera. So I'm going to want to bring my set screw over here, and the magnet will probably be over in this direction a little bit, and then I can loosen the set screw and change the timing just a little bit if I want to. So my next move now probably is to get a bracket on here for the Hall effect sensor. I'll probably make that out of some aluminum angle. Okay, so I've got my collar finished. Got the magnet mounted in it. I put it in there with some blue Loctite. Drilled a hole all the way through so that if I ever need to, I can heat this up just a little bit and push the magnet out and save it in case I want to scrap this particular part of the project. Made up a bracket, drilled the engine block for these two small screws, and mounted the sensor. And then when the magnet here rotates past the sensor, it'll fire the plug. Let me see if I can do that without jerking you around too much here. As soon as this magnet rotates up past the sensor, you can probably hear it. It fires the plug. Here's the plug. As I'm rotating this. So we're going to give that a try. I'll get the flywheel put on it. Here's the little spark box. Now, like I said earlier, it's model airplane stuff. This is a small model airplane LiPo battery. It's 7.4 volts. I'm running it through a UBEC, which is a battery eliminator circuit. It's got a buzzer on it that will buzz when it's when the battery gets low. You know, it's just, this is like a $5 part. They're cheaper than that now probably, and that knocks the voltage down to about 5 volts. There's a pin on it here, a little strap you can put on it, and you can choose 6 volts or 5 volts. I've got it strapped for 5 volts. So that's all this little box needs, and that basically is my ignition system. And this little regulator here will accept anywhere from 6 to 23 volt input and gives me 3 amps output, which is way more than enough to run this box. But that's the little ignition system. We'll give it a shot. That'll allow me to get this engine running and do an evaluation, see how the engine is. So be back with the next phase here shortly.